In today's video, we are taking a look at Cuddlefish Ink. What is it used for and what can we do with it?
Cuddlefish Ink. You said that they pass this out and it can either be like a blob or a big plume that fills the water.
Yep.
It's a distraction or an escape method for the cuttlefish.
Yep.
What's it made of?
Okay, so
I personally don't produce ink.
Before I tell you what it's made of, I'm going to tell you what people use this for. So,
okay.
Yeah, so cephalopods, most of them, there are two types of octopuses that don't actually produce ink. Cuttlefish ink is actually used in very, very fancy dishes, usually pastas, risottos, things like that. It turns your food very, very black. It's a black ink, I mean, it's ink.
So it's food coloring that comes from nature.
Exactly, and it's supposed to have a sort of a briny, very, very strong flavor, and when you add it to the food, it's supposed to just make the flavor better. This stuff is comprised of melanin and mucus. Yep.
So melanin would be what gives
It's
skin
pigment,
coloring
yes.
and all
Yep.
the pigment in the body.
And that's what gives it a very dark color. So different types of cephalopods have different colors of ink. So an octopus will release actually a black ink. Squids is sort of a blue-black, and cuttlefish is a dark brown. It's so dark it looks black, which is why we use it to color different types of foods. Also, you're so excited, I know.
What is this?
Those would be biscuits.
So it's bread?
It's bread.
Oh. I've seen like Oreo cookies that kind of look like this before.
Yeah.
So this is bread, all right.
Yep, I made this last night with cuttlefish ink.
All right, I'm gonna tear one of these open, and this is black all the way through.
It should be.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's...
It's very dense, and that's just because of my baking
dark.
skills.
I mean, it's about like a
It's a dinner roll.
cupcake consistency.
Doesn't have much more of a smell.
Weirdly, it smells kind of like cake.
Oh, it does.
Like it almost smells like cake. Cake that doesn't have frosting on it or anything, but like when you
it
just
smells
take
like
a
it should have
cake out of
chocolate
the-
in it.
Yeah, when you take a cake out of the oven, it kind of smells like that.
Promise it's not. It's just a regular
Just
bread
bread?
recipe. Yep, I just
All
made
right,
it,
well,
mixed in the ink.
Let's try some Cuddlefish Ink bread.
Mucusy.
Let's avoid that descriptive term so I don't puke.
It tastes like bread.
It tastes like bread that maybe has like an extra pinch of salt in it. But you wouldn't think that that's like a weird thing. You'd just be like, oh, it's bread that's just like a tiny bit on the salty side, but not in a way that you're like, oh, it's too salty. It's just like, oh, nice.
And from what I understand from most dishes that use cuttlefish ink, it is just to make the flavors pop a little bit more.
Interesting.
Usually used in a seafood dish. Here's the basic idea. We have cuttlefish ink. Cuttlefish ink is used in lots of various food dishes, and we're gonna run a few experiments to see what can be done with it besides eating it.
I have never actually handled the Cuddlefish Ink before. Callie did a lot of brave experimentation with it. I'm about to learn. Is this scary, just opening the jar, or is...
No, just take a whiff.
Let's take a look at that. That's sort of like a...
You would have expected it to be an ink, right?
Oh, wow.
This is why I made you eat the bread before you
I
smelled
appreciate that. I would not probably have wanted to try it afterward. Yeah, that's really thick. Now, the ingredients here do say that it's got cuttlefish ink, a little bit of water, salt, stabilizer, and I think it's saying as a stabilizer it has sodium carboxymethyl cellulose. I think I actually have some of that in my pantry at home. It just turns liquids into more of a gelatin.
Yep.
So apparently this gelatin is what they want. Like that's I guess considered a good thing that you can turn it upside down and have it not pour out of the container.
Here, let's just put some on a plate. This is your consistency right here.
Blorp that down on there.
So I am about to dash upon the rocks a common myth. Nate is a notoriously picky eater.
What?
He will taste anything that's not actually food. If it's actually food, he usually won't eat it.
In that vein, I am really not a big fan of most seafood. There's a few exceptions, but a lot of seafood I'm just not a fan. So I'm not really excited about tasting something that smells like an aquarium that's been abandoned for 3 years. But I'm going to. I'm going to try this anyway. All right.
That was so much more than I tried.
All right, so most of this reaction is not because it tastes bad, it's because it's unbelievably salty.
It's literally just like
Oh.
licking a salt lick, guys.
Yeah. Wow, it's just like pouring salt onto my tongue.
And your teeth are black. Your whole mouth has got some black on it there. So that's the fascinating part about this stuff. It has an intense color and an intense smell, but the flavor isn't all that fishy. It's just salt.
No, I'm not actually getting any fishy flavor. There's
that weird with
a
the
lot
smell,
of salt.
That's
There's
bizarre.
and then the rest of it is It's more like a seaweed flavor. I don't know, it's a little hard to describe. It does kind of match the smell of like sea plants or something. Like if you've been to the beach, it has a little bit of that flavor to it. Salt is definitely the overwhelming flavor here. Like 98% of what I can taste is just salt.
So actually we have somebody in the studio right now that's not normally here. Should we blind taste test him?
Let's do it.
Hey Hunter!
Hunter is our production manager. He helps run pretty much everything behind the scenes, and normally he's not around physically, but right now he's visiting the area, so he gets to come join this video.
He's so excited, guys.
He's not thrilled.
Hunter!
Everyone say hi to Hunter. You may have seen him a little bit. He's been in a couple videos, like our 10 million subscribers video. He was in there, and he's around. So Hunter, would you like to try some Cuddlefish Ink?
No, but I will.
Will you anyway? Yeah, I didn't want to either.
I'm gonna say taste it before you smell it.
It's funny that they
not.
add salt. Like, I don't think that was necessary.
You know, it smells like when I was in high school, I dissected things for my biology class, and it smells like, what is that, formaldehyde?
Oh,
Kind of
interesting.
what it smells like to me.
So we've preserved a dead fish.
Great, and now I'm gonna eat it.
You just gotta, well, do you wanna try the bread first?
Honestly, it's not bad.
No.
It tastes like bread.
Now that, and I would recommend a very small quantity. I'd say just like touch.
Oh, that's
Pretty
bad.
strong, huh?
It's like, it almost tastes, now I'm gonna have some more. It's like salty.
Really salty.
Yeah.
So the main two ingredients of cephalopod ink is melanin, which gives it the pigment, the color, and mucus.
Oh, mucus.
Cheers.
Delicious.
So I do want to try a few other things. So I am going to try, as you're saying, you don't get a whole lot of flavor with this. It's very salty, but I want to see if this will actually override or mask a flavor of something else. Let's make a mug cake. Let's see if we're going to make an overly salty cake, if it's going to have any sort of fishy flavor, see what happens. All right, so we have two mug cakes, both made with a white cake batter. They are a little bit yellow because we did leave the egg yolks in, but I think it makes it taste a little bit better. Now we're gonna add cuttlefish ink.
How much do you think we need?
Let's just go with like half a teaspoon and see what it does. That's still a lot. Go, go, go. Oh, that's so nasty. There you go. You can see how much that is.
Get into a nice gray cake at this point.
Do we need more?
I think so.
I think it's gonna be a very salty cake. All right, we'll start with the regular one.
Our last mug overflowed a fair bit, so we're going to remove some of the squid ink mug cake from the mug, just so we don't have that happening again.
All right, are you so excited to try this?
Yeah, I mean, it's cake, so.
Cake. I just
like
want to know
cake.
if the flavor is going to be any different with regular cake versus squid ink cake. It's just a box cake mix, so.
It's warm in Brazil, that'll give you a stomach ache.
Okay, so that's, you know, cake.
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 I don't think I've ever had cake that color.
I don't think you're supposed to.
It's pretty mild, actually, the smell.
Yeah, once it's not just on the smell is so much stronger than the flavor.
Yeah, once again, I think it is kind of like the bread. I can sort of taste a little bit of saltiness.
You have to really look for it.
If there was a frosting on this cake, I don't think I would notice it.
Yeah, it's amazing for putting pigment into food with no flavor.
So as food coloring, it works pretty well.
And it does.
So I'm curious, it says Cuddlefish Ink. Obviously this stuff has been thickened to some degree and it's not the consistency of ink, but could we still use it as an ink?
You know what?
Writing implements?
I actually want to try.
Perfect.
So I got a little calligraphy set. Let's see if we can actually use this the same way as a regular ink. I actually got some calligraphy ink. This is just
a comparison test.
Yes, just a regular super black India ink that you use with a calligraphy set, and we're gonna see if we can use it the same way. So we're diluting the ink right now. Nate has got some isopropyl alcohol in his container. Mine, I've just got some water here. Now I put the water in before I started mixing because I just wanted to show that stuff's thick. Like before you mix, it's just chilling. All right, let's try regular ink first. You can tell I'm very good at calligraphy. I will say this would probably be the smelliest ink you'd ever use.
Gross.
Exactly what you want. Oh my gosh, you can write with it. Not nearly as well. Wait.
So I think it's more technique than anything else.
Are you saying I'm really bad at this? Show off.
It's not working as well.
Yeah, it's definitely thicker, and that could be the, whatever they added to this ink, but you can write with Cuddlefish ink.
And maybe it would work better if we just kept diluting it. That's still really dark, so with a little bit more water, I think we'd still get a decent...
If we just splash this, what's it gonna look like? Remember how I said it's got these granules in it? You can see it when you spread it out.
Yes, you can.
But you can also see that brown color that we're talking about because this is Cuddlefish ink. And so if somebody says, oh, this is squid ink, and you smear it onto a piece of paper under your skin and it's brown, it's not squid ink.
Kind of like a burnt umber. It's not like Crayola marker brown, it's a very grayish, yellowish brown.
Now that we've diluted some of this, I actually want to try dropping it into water, see if it spreads out, see if we can replicate what a cuttlefish actually does with this ink. 3, 2, 1. I'm very excited to see what that looks like. This container is just opaque now, and that was a very small container. So we're gonna try same amount in a much larger container, see if we can flood that too. 3, 2, 1.
I get why that would stop a fish from attacking.
Yeah.
I can't really see much through that. I'm gonna see how much Cuddlefish ink it takes to make milk black. And unlike with the cake, I'm gonna keep adding it until you're like, oh, that's black liquid. And clearly you shouldn't drink it.
You are electing to do this for yourself.
Then I'm gonna try it. It's not even very cold milk. No!
How is that?
All right. The milk, not very cold. Salt flavor is definitely there, so it's like salty, kind of warm milk. Little bit of that seaweedy flavor that we've been really getting off of this ink. And then along with that, the mixer we used really kind of foamed it up. So it's like a warm, foamy, salty, seaweed flavored milk.
So would you recommend it?
Not to anyone. Not to a dying man who needed liquid to survive. Cuddlefish ink.
You can draw with it.
You can draw with it. You have to dilute it because it's like a paste. Maybe you could paint with it undiluted.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool medium, actually. Can you use it in food?
You can use it in food.
It's actually pretty good
for
what other people have decided its intended purpose is.
I think there's been testing and they've really figured out what does and does not work. In bread, I think that works great. Maybe you can leave out a little bit of the salt, although if you're making the right kind of bread, you could probably make it work for you.
Oh yeah.
I still think garlic bread could be pretty nifty with it. In milk, definitely not. Don't do that. It's a bad plan.
No one should ever do that ever.
Cake.
It works.
It was fine in
worked
cake.
as a pigment.
If you want a gray cake and you want it to be like an all-natural dye, then Cuddlefish ink, that'll get you there.
There you go.
It did not ruin the cake. I would eat that cake.
Yeah, not bad cake. Guys, we still have a ton of Cuddlefish ink.
Is there anything you want to see us do with Cuddlefish ink? We have a lot of Cuddlefish ink. We don't want to eat it anymore.
We don't want to eat any more of this. Let us know in the comments below if there's anything else that you think we could do with this.
This is an animal's butt weapon. We're using it as food.
Guys, that was really weird. If you want to see more, hit that box up at the top for our latest video. We'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then.